We are live there. All right.
Awesome.
All right. There we go. Let's see.
Now,
All right.
any other time they're waiting to see you. So
Right.
we should see how this goes.
Yes.
They're normally waiting to see you, so.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here.
He is.
I'm here.
Now I
He's
sent out a
here.
text message like he's here.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Hey, everybody. Come on in. Surprise.
We have a special guest.
I know.
Yeah, we do.
Finally let the man of the hour be on his own Periscope for a change.
We behaved so badly, he actually had to come on live with
That's
us.
what happened.
We
I had
apologize.
to check out what y'all were talking about.
That's what happened. Well, listen, we are so excited about tonight. We are so grateful for all of you that are here. Many of you are already logging in on Periscope, and then those of you that are on Facebook Live, we're so excited to have you with us as well. It's a wonderful opportunity when we get a chance to come together. You're familiar with many of the faces that are here, and we're honored to have Pastor Van here with us as we get a chance to talk about really one of the most exciting things that I'm looking forward to, and that is his brand new book, The iFactor. And we can say it constantly, and I know Tamika can type it in there as well, the website, so you can go to that website, download your opportunity to purchase the book, pre-order the book, and get all the other content that's there. So go to iFactorbook.com. But it is going to be absolutely awesome. And so I just want to go ahead and jump into it tonight with all of you that are with us. We want to hear from you too. So those of you that are on here, we want you guys to comment, to talk to us, share your insight, let us know some things you would want to talk about as it relates to the book as well. And so I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to let Pastor Van jump in and do his thing, but we're just so glad to be with all of you tonight, those of you that are watching around the world. This is truly an exciting time. So, Pastor, it's all on you.
Yeah.
It's all on you.
Well, first of all, let me say thanks to you guys. You guys are an amazing team, and I see every Sunday, how we're reaching people around the world through our online campus, and it's because of you guys. So I'm excited. I'm excited that tonight I get the chance to kind of sit in and hang out. And we're doing this special session to everyone that's watching us, whether you are in and around Alabama or you are in and around some part of the wonderful world that we inhabit. Welcome. Tonight is a special night because we're really just talking about my brand new book called The iFactor. In fact, I've got kind of an advanced copy here that you can see. It just gives you a little bit of a taste of what the cover is going to look like. Now, I know a lot of people are familiar with the book that came out a couple years ago called The People Factor. And it's amazing. This book came out in 2014, but it's still touching the lives of people around the world. People are still commenting. I was in Virginia the week or so ago, and I was ministering, and I got a chance to meet J.J. Hairston, the gospel artist, and his wife. They started reading The People Factor, and she hit me up on Instagram just on yesterday or Tuesday, I think it was, talking about how amazing the book was. Well, I've been telling people that if you think that The People Factor is good and was amazing and blessed you in a variety of ways, I cannot wait for you to get your hands on the iFactor. And that's why we've been doing so much to ramp up towards the release of the book. Because when I tell you that the hand of God is on this book, that is an understatement. And so many people remember the People Factor. The People Factor dealt with how the relationships around you are critical. How there's no such thing as a neutral relationship is kind of what I always talked about when I was presenting about the People Factor. Well, the iFactor is a little bit different because what I realized was that while the relationships around you are important, there's a parallel truth about relationships that a lot of people aren't talking about, and it is that the relationship you have with yourself can be the most difficult relationship you ever have. A great novelist, a man by the name of Leo Tolstoy, once said that everybody wants to change the world, but nobody thinks of changing themselves. And I think that in and of itself, for most people, is the biggest challenge. Because no matter where you go, there you are. And that's what the iFactor is all about. And so the iFactor really digs into this notion that you can be the most gifted and the most talented, and in the churchy world, you can be the most anointed. But literally, most people crash and burn, not because of their gift or their anointing. They crash and burn because they can't manage themselves well.
It's true.
I mean, when you think about the history of people, recent history and history, I mean, it spans back over the course of so many years, what you see is that the common denominator of some very talented people, some very gifted people, some people that on the outside look like they had it all together, they still failed, and it wasn't because of anybody else. It was because they couldn't lead themselves well. For an example, who would have ever thought, and I talk about this in the opening of the book, who would have ever thought that Michael Jackson, a man like him who on the outside, I mean the greatest entertainer arguably of our generation, who would have ever thought that he couldn't sleep? See, that's an iFactor issue. Or who would have ever thought that Prince, you know, whether you know him as Prince or Tabcat, the artist formerly known as Prince, who would have ever thought that he would have a problem managing pain? You get what I'm saying? Those are iFactor issues. And so I really believe that the next real big breakthrough that a lot of people are craving, and that really that God is calling all of us to really focus on, is how do we lead ourselves well? Because if I can lead myself well, then I can lead any relationship well. So a lot of individuals, when we want to say, you know, I want to climb the ladder, I want breakthrough, I want God to do something else in my life, we always start externally. If I can meet the right person, if I can connect with the right group of people, if I can get the right job, if I can marry the right person, we always start externally. But the problem is, if I'm tore up internally, I can meet the right person and still destroy the relationship. If I'm torn up internally, I can get the best job and still blow it. And so that's what the iFactor is all about. That's why you got to get the book, and not just the book. A lot of people, when I was just doing a lot of the work around the people factor, people around the world were saying, man, we wish you'd had small group material, we wish that you had other things. And so we took all of that to heart. Well, with iFactor, we do. And so later on tonight, we're going to introduce the small group material to the worship center. But those of you that are watching, if you lead a church group, or if you're a Sunday school teacher, or if you've just got friends that you guys do life together and you eat together, I want to encourage you to not just pre-order the book. Definitely go out to iFactorbook.com, pre-order the book, but then also get the small group material so that you can dive deeper. And I'm excited about it because it's really going to spur conversation and to get us to talk about the material so that we can really experience the kind of life change that I believe that God wants us to have. So in a nutshell, that's the iFactor at a high level. You got to get the book to really dive in. But let's talk about it. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, because you guys in your respective areas and what you do and in your respective giftings, you've interacted with a lot of people. This concept of being healthy on the inside first is a big concept, but I don't hear a lot of people talk about it. Why do you think it's important?
You know what? It's so funny that you said that. I was just talking to a group of women about, August being new beginning. And so I explained to them, I said, well, before you start asking God to kind of start working in this situation that you're asking Him to kind of turn around or change for you, have you ever thought about it starts with you? Maybe the new beginning should be here first. And so it's so funny that you hit on the iFactor the way you did, because that's basically intentionally piggybacking off of what you're producing before us today, is that we need to first, before we go after anything, make sure we're prepared to even go forth, go after it, go after that promotion, go after that home, make sure your credit's good, make sure that your credentials are, you're even ready to carry on, to go after that promotion, because there's a big responsibility. So sometimes we need to kind of self-evaluate, make sure we're together before we even do anything.
Well, and then what often happens when we don't do that is that some doors God will allow us to step through, but we won't be able to stay through them. So we can have opportunities that are great opportunities, and we jump at them, but we can't sustain them. So the iFactor is not just about being healthy because you need to be healthy. It's also about long-term, lasting success and lasting impact. Because there's some people that can't reach their potential and destiny because of iFactor issues. Then there's some people that can, but they can't sustain it. Because of iFactor issues. And so I totally agree. This is the main issue. And one of the things that I've enjoyed, the book is kind of in the phase where this is what's called an advanced reader copy. This is not the final book that will be on bookshelves when the book is released. But what the publisher does is they send these advanced reader copies to certain individuals to endorse. And they sent the advanced reader copy to well over 40 top leaders around the world. Leaders not just in church, leaders in business, leaders in the marketplace in a variety of areas. And everybody wrote back. So we're inundated with endorsements, but everybody wrote back and said, this is the issue of our time. Many people said this is the issue that the world is facing. Think about even the political race. It doesn't matter who you pull for, but the knock against both candidates really speaks to iFactor issues. You know, so I think that this is a book that not only you all need, we all need, and the world needs, because this is the central issue.
I think it gives new meaning to the term, are you ready? That question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very much what you talked about. You know, we always think of, as you said, external stuff. You know, are you ready? Oh, well, I'm getting there. And we talk about everything but the mental and emotional part of what we need to do for ourselves so that we can truly prepare. You know, preparation is not about those physical things always. It's about those internal things as well that we don't want to address and sometimes we don't want to see. So I think that's a big part of it too. I don't know if the book addresses that, how we don't want to get to those parts that we know need to change so that we can be better. You know, sometimes I think we recognize that and then we're just too afraid that that change is going to change who we are.
Or even make us uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Because who wants to be uncomfortable?
Well, one of the things I talk about in the book, and you guys remember, you guys were part of the small group taping session. I deal with this whole concept of peeling an onion. Because before you can really get down to the core of who you are, you got to strip away who you're not.
Yes.
And sometimes that process, like peeling an onion, it'll stink up your kitchen. You know, it may make your eyes water. But it is the best thing if you're really going to get to the core of who you are, because at the core of that onion is the seed that makes it everything that it is. And sometimes it is hard work because we live this pseudo self, and sometimes we are much better in our pseudo selves than we are in our real selves. But everything flows out of the core of who you are, and so you got to peel the onion and get to that core.
I think you hit on it completely. I think the timing of the book, based off of so many factors that we're seeing in society today, is that we are truly in a time where there's a major identity issue. And this is something that we have talked about for continuous times in our small group. So those of you that have been with us, we've talked about it a lot. It all gets back to one central thing, that people don't know who they are and whose they are in Christ. And when you can factor in that being the number one issue, everything else, when you get that in line, everything else begins to make sense. And it adds up, because we have so many people that have lost their understanding of their identity. We have people that are searching for it in so many different areas. We talk about it from relationships to other things. You have people trying to find their identity in someone else, something else, and then they come back and find out that it's not what they really think it is. They're incomplete. And so we have, you know, really a situation where this is, the timing of it couldn't be any better. I believe that more so than anything, that God's hand is on it simply for the fact that the timing of the book being released, when it's released, and the climate of our country at this point, the election being during that time, all the things that are going on, we have so many things, and the hardest place to make the initial time of looking at yourself is in the mirror and making that decision and saying, a lot of the stuff that goes on, some of the stuff really starts right here. When you make that decision that you want to make the change, because that change starts first with you. And identifying those issues. And so I believe that this book really is going to help people understand the importance of not just always looking at somebody else for the solution to the problem, but looking at themselves and finding out that that solution, first of all, starts with them when they make their decision up in their mind to make the changes.
Well, you know, the truth is, the change that I want to see, and this goes for everybody, it's got to first begin in me. And so often we spend so much time pointing the finger, talking about that needs to change, that needs to change. But if I am the change, then everywhere that I go, I'm carrying a hope and the light that I want to see in others. And so the book, when I talk about a healthy iFactor, it really revolves around three key concepts: identity, significance, and perspective. And like you guys, I vehemently believe that identity is the central issue of our time.
It is.
Whether you are young or old. I was watching, just flipping the channels last night, and watching a talk show, and a very, very popular, uber popular celebrity talked about how for years the biggest struggle of their life was in the area of identity. And you know, these big celebrities catch our attention, but the truth is they're not the only ones that struggle with these issues. And so identity is important, significance is important. Understanding that you are valuable, understanding that your life is meaningful, and when you understand that, it anchors you in a way unlike anything else does. The moment that I really got into contact with my purpose and the fact that I am significant as Van Moody, that I'm precious to God, and He put me here on purpose. That made everything else come alive. I mean, it really did.
It almost like sets a fire in you too,
That's it.
because you're like, man, you mean to tell me I've been walking around like this for this
all this time?
And the sad part about it is so often people get to the understanding of who they are at such a later point in life. And it's like, I think about myself, and I'm not old, I know means, but I think about it and I'm like, you know, imagine if I got into the understanding of what the purpose that God had initially for my life a long time ago. Everything else would be so different as it relates to that and lining up with that. And we've talked about that before, and I know you said, if you take your life and you line it up with the purpose that God has for your life, and that goes on you knowing who you are and who Christ says you are, everything else after that, it makes all the sense in the world. And I think if we're going to find a way to correct a lot of the issues, you mentioned layers of an onion and peeling all that stuff back, the biggest area that we have to get back to, which we don't want to a lot of times, is the core root of where the problem starts. And a lot of the times, it starts with us. And that's the identity check, that's the self-check that we don't want to make. But in order to have a solution to any of the problems that we're seeing, we have to make that self-check and say, you know what is it that I can do that can improve myself and be better? Because as you are better, you end up affecting the people around you. And I think that that's what these small groups that we'll be able to do, and that's what's great about technology, because no matter where you are around the world, you'll be able to go and download the small group material, the videos, the workbook, and actually start your own small group wherever you are, and you can hash out these conversations and these issues.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's where the change can begin to happen.
And it'll be a trickle down effect. You'll start to see those changes, you know, within your home, you know, within your job, how you handle things, how you handle a situation that could be in line at Walmart. You know, it's amazing how, you know, such small things and such big things, they're related. It all relates. It all comes full circle. I think it would be so awesome to have stuff like this for teenagers. So that they start out knowing who they are, you know, embracing that instead of going into your 20s and your 30s. And, you know, again, you're lost and you're still trying to find out who you are. Not that, you know, if you're there, I've been there, I understand, still learning, still a process. Remember, we're all works in progress. But, you know, it's amazing how, just like I said, I wish I had this at 15 because I struggled with that. I didn't know who I was. For a long time, I defined myself by looks, by what people said, by body size, by all of that, thinking that mattered and that's made me who I was. But I didn't understand that God had created me to be fearfully and wonderfully made. And then to know that and to embrace purpose now, y'all.
That's my passion. I want everybody to get the book. And the book is written like the People Factor. It's written in a simple way so that from kindergarten to senior citizens, you can get the material, you can understand it, you can apply it to your life. But then don't just pre-order the book, go out there and do that, but then take it a step further. And we have put together this small group content in such a way you can literally download it, you can take your family through it, you can have the discussions, you can meet at a coffee shop with homeboys or girlfriends, and literally have your small group there. Because I do believe that this is the most pressing issue. And if we can talk about it and get people to a place of healing and health, healthy people make healthy marriages marriages make healthy families make healthy communities build healthier nations. So that's what we want. And you know, for me, this is a labor of love because it's interesting. I was reflecting on the two books this morning, just kind of in my prayer time, and the People Factor. And I say this in the book. I wrote the book that I wish somebody would have given me. Because I made a lot of relational mistakes. Because you can go to the best institutions, and I have more degrees than a thermometer. But literally, I never learned how to manage relationships. So the People Factor was me saying, okay, these are all of these principles about relationships with others that I learned the hard way. The iFactor, though, really is an area where I received my greatest breakthroughs. That my life really began to shift when God settled identity, significance, and perspective in my life. And so it's not so much that this is a book out of pain. This is a book out of breakthrough and out of healing. And exactly. And that's why I know that it's going to heal the lives of so many people.
That's right.
You guys heard me tell the story. I grew up when dark-skinned brothers were not in. And so literally, I mean, you know, Al B. Shore, Christopher Williams, and they were the popular ones. So I grew up being made fun of because of my skin color.
Right.
And so I was insecure. I wrestled with all of those things. Even when God called me into ministry, I went through that season where I felt like, okay, in order to be accepted, I had to be like that popular preacher, or be, you know. But everything that God really began to do in my life didn't happen until He settled those issues of identity, significance, and perspective. And those are the three issues and areas that, you know, our kids struggle in, that adults sometimes will go the rest of their lives.
I mean, like knowing that, you know, to be in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, even 60s, knowing that you're carrying something that happened when you were 12 or happened when you were 5 and never got resolved, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you're carrying all of this weight and still don't know who you are and having the struggles and every time past the identity, I get chills because we're at an identity crisis right now. You know, we really are. And I really am strongly like begging and pleading everyone who's watching us right now, go get the book. Go ahead, pre-order it right now. I will put it back up there because it is so life-changing. Just being a part of the small group taping was life-changing. It was. I thought my therapist was good, but the Holy Spirit is better because he was in the building that
It was
day.
great, healthy conversation.
Oh my God.
And I think on the backside of the series that we've been in, so many of you that have been a part of our series on Sunday of the table, getting back to some foundational principles as it relates to the communication and those things. And that's why I believe these small groups and these opportunities with this book are opportunities for us to sit around the table, sit around and talk and have open dialogue. We talked about this before. We did a conversation, and one of those nights we talked about communication. We said one of the areas that really is lacking is we don't communicate anymore. So, as you mentioned, which I love the quote, by the way, drive-through families, we literally have drive-through type of relationships. We have people who have lived in such a so technical world of social media, which is great, but then we don't really take the time to have conversation and dialogue. You know, I think all of us, we grew up where, you know, you fell asleep on the phone. You know, you sleep? No. You sleep? No, I'm not sleeping.
I just want to issue green.
No, you just on the phone, you asleep. You know, so, you know, is your mama up, your daddy up? Okay, don't call the house, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know. We grew up with that. And so now we're in a day and age where you're having people and they're literally not really communicating in dialogue. And so we've lost that in our families. Because as we talked about, we don't, you sit here, and then we don't come together and talk. And so a lot of those root issues all go back to some simple principles. And if we can get to the core of understanding these essential things that are in this book, they'll help us really, really move into a point of being able to grow healthy families, healthy people, and we can be healthy individuals. Because I think as we grow, we can really make an impact on the people around us, and that's what these opportunities can really do with these small groups in this book as we talk about it. I think it's healthy, man.
And with that, that makes me think of one of the staff members. She said, I think yesterday or the day before, she said she's going to start a small group for her family with the iFactor. I think that's so amazing.
It's a great place to start.
Everybody keeps saying family. If that's something you prefer to do, if you are thinking, hey, I want to get the book, I want to start a small group, I want to kind of interact with my family, do that. Start at home.
This might be a great, honestly,
that would be tremendous.
With you saying that, this might be a great way for some families who really have not been communicating to literally get this, download this, watch this as a family, and then talk about it. Maybe your kids, you have teenagers, maybe they don't talk, maybe they don't communicate with you, but maybe this can be something that can drive conversation. And to start with the family, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. You know, we talk about, you know, your friends and people, and that's wonderful. But maybe your family needs this conversation.
I think it's time to come back to the living room. I know the table, but let's come back to the living room and pop this thing in.
As long as it doesn't have the plastic sheets and plastic covers on the furniture, you're good.
You might need that slide out of that chair. It doesn't matter where it is. Do whatever you need to do. So you got.
I'm curious. Do we get any questions?
Yeah, and so we haven't had any questions at this point, but we do have people that are just talking about, especially on Facebook. Dana's talking about how she was saying as far as for her, still carrying some pain from her childhood.
Wow.
Cleo was talking about she's here for this breakthrough, and and back to the basics. She's talking about that as well. So that's from Facebook. But those of you that are on Periscope, as we talk about all of this, it's not a thing where we say this all the time. None of us have it all together.
No.
We are nowhere near
No.
being in a position to say that we have it right. We are flawed individuals across the board.
Yes.
And so I see it's Shanika, good evening to you as well. Glad to have you with us. And those of you that are online with us, we just want you to know, we want to hear from you, your thoughts. What are some things that are standing out from you? And I know Pastor's reading something as well.
Y'all starstruck because Pat is here.
Well, man, let me shout out to Joe McMiller. He said the People Factor helped me tremendously, especially on the job. We'll definitely purchase the iFactor when you're coming back to North Carolina. World Overcomers with my brother, Pastor Andy. Listen, I love you guys. What a tremendous ministry there. Listen, reach out to Pastor Andy and tell him to have Pastor Van back. But he's my brother. But no, I mean, Joe, I'm telling you, I'm so glad to hear how the People Factor blessed you. Well, all I got to say is this. Put your seatbelt on, because if the People Factor blessed you guys, the iFactor is, man, is I can't even quantify. I felt like God was going to do something special with the People Factor. But man, I mean, the hand of God is on this book. I'm telling you, the iFactor, there is something special that wasn't even on the People Factor that's on this one.
Yeah.
And so I can't wait until you guys read it, because it's not only going to help at home, it's going to help at work, it's going to help in your private relationships, your public ones, it's going to help with your kids, your marriage. It's going to help in every area of your life. And so excited to have you guys join us tonight, and so excited that the People Factor has made an impact. Go out to iFactorbook.com, pre-order the book. Go ahead and purchase the small group material. You can get the physical small group workbook. You can download it to your mobile device. It's created for all your mobile platforms. You can download the videos. Man, it is in every format to make it easy for you to get it, to bring your friends or your family around the table, and let's start going through it and talking about it.
Yeah, and I know quite a few of you, just tuning in, when is the book being released? Okay, because for some reason I'm not seeing your responses on here, but the book is going to be released November 22nd, okay? And so you can go ahead and go to iFactorbook.com and pre-order the book, but there's also information there as well about the small groups. You can click on that.
Yep.
And what's so great about this is technology has given the ability to download the videos and everything that you need. But I really believe it. I think, like you said, I think the timing of this, I really believe that God's hand was intentional to put this book where it's being released. Yep. You wrote this book prior to knowing all the stuff that's happened in our country, and it's no accident that it's laid in the time frame of it being the way it is now. And so my encouragement to all of you is share this with people that you know. But more importantly, I think if we can come and make the small changes we need to make as people and say, hey, listen, let's sit down, let's watch this, let's talk about this, and begin to open up that conversation, the healing that we need, the breakthrough that we need. You have so many people who you saw from Dana's conversation, what she said, hey, I'm dealing with stuff that I've been carrying for a long time. How many people are dealing with that stuff that they never let go of and released? And then we end up saying, well, no, I don't need to go see anybody because, seeing a therapist is somewhat taboo, and that's not true. You know what I mean? And there's some area that healing has to take place.
Absolutely. One thing I want to stress too is Thomas Nelson, who I'm so honored to work with in terms of publishing this book. They are amazing. They get it. They stand behind this book. And so don't wait until November when the book is released. Go out and pre-order it. And one of the reasons we're pushing pre-orders is because there are a ton of freebies that you're going to get when you pre-order that as soon as the book is released are going to go away. So one of the things I'm so excited about is there's a journal that Thomas Nelson has created that will only be for those people that pre-order the book. And so as you're going through the book, as you're going through the small group material, man, you're going to have a really nice journal that you can really write in and grow. And that's big for me because I've been a journaler for many years. So that's just one of the freebies that's out there. There's a ton of great goodies out there, and I like free stuff. Particularly good free stuff.
Y'all like free stuff.
You know what? Because look, people download apps just to get a free sandwich. So I know how to roll. I know how you roll. So so definitely do that. But I'm just excited about what God is doing, and as we kind of get to the close of wrapping this up, I want to make sure that we also talk about something that I really want to make sure that we mention, and that is we're going to have more opportunities to do this.
Yes.
So this is not just the one time we're going to do it. We're actually going to come down and come together and talk more about the iFactor and have you guys dialogue and talk with us and just share your thoughts and your insight so we can really spend time dialoguing with you. Is international shipping available? I know it is available
Yes.
for that. We just had that question come in as well.
Listen, you can get the book, you can get the small group material anywhere in the world. So don't let the barriers of your country stop you. Order it. It's coming directly to you. Shout out to all my friends in Australia, Pastor Sam and Pastor Russell Evans from Planet Shakers. They wrote an endorsement for the book. Shout out to my friends in Africa, particularly South Africa. We've had a number of pastors to chime in on it as well. So the book is going to be available, and the small group content is available around the world.
And yes, and if you want Renita to deliver that to you directly to Africa, she is dressed accordingly. She can take it to you. So I know she'd love to drop it off.
See, but I'm not
He had to do it.
I'm
in front of
gonna be
Pat.
good.
See?
And I'm going to be paid in front of him, okay?
Amen.
So I'm going to be nice this time, but he already knows I'm crazy, so I'm being real sweet, saints. All right?
But we really want all of
He
you. We really want all of you, no matter where you are, to get the book. And like I said, we want to do more of this. You know, we want to really sit down and talk more about it. You know, even we're doing 30 minutes or 35 minutes. But the point is, we want you guys to know that you're part of this conversation, what's happening. Big shout out to Bermuda. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So we want you guys to know you're part of the conversation. You're part of what we're doing. And it's something that we feel like, and I believe too, that if we can grasp this understanding of that we can make some changes that we want to see, and it has to start with us. The hardest conversation that you have to have is how to deal with you.
Yep.
Yes.
Self.
It's easier. It's the easiest thing to do is to talk about everybody else and what they're doing and what they're not doing and whose fault is this. This is not right because of that. I get all that. But
Get in the mirror.
But your chance to make a difference is when you decide that you want to make a change.
Yeah.
And that's where it happens.
And it's not that you're so bad.
Right,
It's just
right.
that you should desire to be better.
Right.
You should desire to be better for, for first and foremost for the kingdom, for God. And then for the purpose. Because if you're not doing what you need to do for you, can you imagine how many people are missing out on the gift that God has planted inside of you? Those seeds are not being nurtured and watered. They're just sitting there. They're drying up. They're dying. And you're not planting them for anyone. You're not sharing that. You're not creating leaders and just... God, it's amazing. I think of those things that I missed out on because I was insecure, because I suffered with identity. And I wonder how many blessings and people were missed because of that.
And you're talking to so many people that are in the same boat. What's interesting about that kind of conversation is there's so many people who internally have been dealing with that for so long. And they really don't know how to get out of it. But it's something that they've tried to keep buried for so long. And then you wonder where some of the things come from, why they are this way about certain things, why they act a certain way about stuff, or why you may behave a certain way. A lot of the things go back to that root issue that was never addressed.
And that's an opportunity for them to be able to do that, to really dig really deep into themselves and go after what it is that they know that God has for them. Because I don't care, no matter if the insecurities we had, and even the baggage that we carry throughout our life, you gotta always remember when you got a call on you, God's gonna chase after you regardless. So you gotta remember the little nuggets. And so God's been nudging you, and you've had a couple of sleepless nights, and it's all because that there's a purpose that God has, over your life. And so just go in scared, as Pat say. Don't even worry. Don't let the fear continue to pull you away. Let it drive you to this book. So you can start digging deep and uncover what it is that God truly has for you.
And so we're honored to have all of you with us. I know so many of you have been here. Some of you have been chatting and mentioning things on Periscope. And so if we missed anything you guys said, we are grateful that all of you are here. And just know that we're going to have more opportunities for us to sit down and do this. So just make sure, many of you, which already are obviously following Pastor Van on social media, keep doing that and spread the word. The best thing we can do is spread this kind of conversation across social media. So the great thing about Periscope is it is available to watch again. So when the replay is available, share that with everybody so they can watch it, because we want to spread social media with positive talk and things that can really help change the lives of people. And we can start doing that by this conversation as well. And so we look forward to, and they say this with their saved friends and their unsaved friends. And so that's what we want you guys to do. And so we'll make sure to let you know, hey, listen, we'll have another opportunity coming up where you guys can log in and join us, and we'll get a chance to talk with you and chat and talk more about the book, and then things that may be questions you even have too. You know, make sure you hit pass up and say, hey, listen, I've got a question about something, or I'd like for you guys to discuss this as it relates to the book after you get it, because there's also an opportunity for you to download the first chapter for free.
Yep.
So you can download the first chapter. All you have to do is fill out your information, download the first chapter, and then get back to us and say, hey, I'd love for you guys to talk about this that was in the first chapter of the book, and we'll set aside some time and actually come on and talk with you. So
I'd love to hear from you guys, and so please hit us up on social media. Let us know, number one, that you like this. Tell us that, because if you like it, we're going to do more of it. As Sly said, you can go out to iFactorbook.com, you can download the first chapter, and we're giving that away for free because we just want you to get the content.
Something else for free.
Something else for free.
There you go.
And so go out there, download the free chapter, read it, hit me up, and then let's talk more about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So make sure you do that, iFactorbook.com. Make sure that you spread this across all social media channels with your friends. Download the free first chapter of that. Get all the other freebies once you pre-order the book, because you can get those as well. And we'll make sure that we keep you posted on stuff. And so hit pass up on social media. Let them know how this blessed you and how you want more content and conversation about this as well. And we'll get into it. So we love you guys. We love you. We thank you so much. We're glad Pass had a chance to hang out with us and crash the party. So absolutely. So we look forward to being with you guys again soon. And so with that being said, we're signing off. You guys have a wonderful night.
Bye, guys.
And sorry that we couldn't see all of your comments.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Something went wrong.
some went wrong, but I was able to pull them up. So we're in good shape. So